The golf world is no stranger to chaos, but what is happening right now is unprecedented. Two of the biggest names in professional golf, Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau, are facing a future that nobody saw coming. Both players made the jump to LIV Golf for life-changing money. Both were supposed to be the face of the Saudi-backed league for years to come, but now, with LIV Golf in turmoil, their futures are suddenly uncertain. Financial troubles, leadership, battles. A league on the brink of collapse. Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau are caught in the middle. What happens next will shock you. Will they try to return to the PGA Tour? Will they retire? Will they start something new? The answers are more dramatic than you can imagine. The golf world has exploded, and the future of two of its biggest stars has never been more in doubt. For more coverage in golf, subscribe and hit the notification bell. The news about LIV Golf's troubles has been spreading for weeks, but the full scope of the crisis is only now becoming clear. According to multiple sources, the Saudi Public Investment Fund is preparing to significantly reduce its financial commitment to the league. The fund has lost patience. After 4 years and over $2 billion in losses, the investors want out. They are not willing to keep pouring money into a venture that has failed to gain traction. For Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau, this is a nightmare scenario. Both players signed massive contracts to join LIV. Rahm's deal is reportedly worth over $300 million. DeChambeau's worth over $300 million. DeChambeau's worth over $125 million. The money was guaranteed. But guaranteed contracts are only as good as the entity backing them. If LIV Golf collapses, those contracts could become worthless. The players could be left with nothing. Rahm joined LIV in late 2023. His defection was a massive blow to the PGA Tour. He was the reigning Masters champion. He was ranked number 3 in the world. He was beloved by fans. His decision to leave was seen as a turning point in the golf war. Now, just 2 years later, his future is in question. He has not won a major since joining LIV. His world ranking has slipped. His legacy is being defined by his contract, not his performance. DeChambeau joined LIV earlier. He was one of the first major stars to defect. He has been the most vocal defender of the league. He has called it the future of golf. He has recruited other players. He has given countless interviews praising the Saudi investment. Now, with the league in trouble, his words sound hollow. He is the face of a failing experiment. Both players have remained publicly silent. They have not commented on the reports. They have not posted on social media. They have not given interviews. Their silence is strategic. They are waiting to see what happens. They are consulting with lawyers. They are exploring their options. They do not want to say anything that could hurt their position. But behind the scenes, sources say, both players are panicking. They did not expect LIV to fail. They believed the Saudi money was infinite. They believed the league would eventually win the Gulf War. Now they are facing the possibility that they made a terrible mistake. The PGA Tour is watching closely. Officials have not commented publicly, but privately, they are preparing for the possibility that LIV players will want to return. The Tour's reinstatement rules are strict. Players would have to serve suspensions. They would have to repay their signing bonuses. But the Tour could make exceptions. If LIV collapses, the Tour may be more forgiving. They may see it as a victory. They may welcome back the prodigal sons. But welcoming them back will not be easy. The players who stayed on the PGA Tour feel betrayed. They sacrificed money and opportunities to remain loyal. They will not be happy to see the defectors return without consequences. To understand what Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau are facing, we need to look at the specific terms of their LIV contracts. Both deals are complex. They include signing bonuses, performance incentives, and equity stakes in the league. The equity stakes are the most interesting part. Both players were given ownership shares in LIV Golf. Those shares were supposed to become valuable as the league grew. Instead, they are now worthless. The contracts also include non-compete clauses. These clauses prevent players from joining any rival league for a period of time after leaving LIV. For Rahm and DeChambeau, that period is 2 years. If LIV collapses, they cannot simply sign with the PGA Tour the next day. They would have to wait, or they would have to challenge the non-compete clauses in court. Legal experts say the non-compete clauses may not be enforceable. Courts have become skeptical of these agreements. They are seen as restraints on trade. If LIV is no longer operating, the justification for the non-compete disappears. Rahm and DeChambeau could argue that the clause is void. They could ask a judge to set it aside. That would take time. That would cost money. But it is possible. The more immediate issue is the signing bonuses. Both players received huge upfront payments. They have spent that money. They cannot give it back. The PGA Tour has demanded that any returning player repay a portion of their signing bonus to charity. That could be a deal breaker. Rahm would have to repay tens of millions of dollars. DeChambeau would have to repay millions. They may not have the liquid cash to do so. Negotiations would be necessary. The PGA Tour could reduce the repayment amount. They could allow players to pay over time. They could waive the requirement entirely in exchange for a public apology. Everything is negotiable. The question is how badly the Tour wants these players back. The Tour needs stars. Television ratings are declining. Fan interest is waning. The return of Rahm and DeChambeau would be a massive story. It would generate headlines. It would attract viewers. The Tour may be willing to make concessions to bring them back. But the players who stayed loyal will be watching. They will demand answers. They will want to know why the defectors are being treated differently. The Tour cannot afford to alienate its core membership. Any deal for Rahm and DeChambeau will have to be balanced with benefits for the loyalists. The situation is complicated. There are no easy answers. Rahm and DeChambeau are in a difficult position. They made a bet. They lost. Now they have to figure out how to move forward. The golf world is watching. The clock is ticking. The reaction to the news about Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau's uncertain futures has been swift and intense. The golf world is divided. Fans, players, and pundits have all taken sides. The debate has spilled beyond golf into mainstream media. Everyone has an opinion, and no one agrees. Let us start with the fans. A poll conducted by Golfix asked, should Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau be allowed to return to the PGA Tour? The results were surprisingly close. 45% said yes, 42% said no, 13% were unsure. The yes voters argued that the golf world needs its best players together. They miss watching Rahm and DeChambeau compete against Scheffler and McIlroy. The no voters argued that the defectors made their choice. They should live with the consequences. The players have been more divided. Some are sympathetic. They understand that the LIV players were offered life-changing money. They do not blame them for taking it. Others are bitter. They feel betrayed. They sacrificed to stay on the PGA Tour. They do not want to see the defectors welcomed back with open arms. One anonymous player told Golfix, I stayed because I believed in the Tour. I turned down millions. Now these guys want to come back like nothing happened? That's not fair. Another player said, we should be happy. The war is over. Let them come back. Let's play golf. The media coverage has been relentless. Every golf outlet is covering the story. Every podcast is analyzing the implications. The consensus is that the return of Rahm and DeChambeau to the PGA Tour is inevitable. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen this year, but it will happen. The only question is the terms. The PGA Tour has not commented publicly, but sources say that officials are Kaisher Taolun Ruha reintegrate LIV players. The discussions are sensitive. The Tour does not want to appear weak, but it also does not want to miss an opportunity to strengthen its product. The most interesting reaction came from Tiger Woods. Woods was asked about the possibility of LIV players returning. He said, the Tour has rules. Those rules apply to everyone. If the rules are changed for one player, they must be changed for all players. I trust the Tour to make the right decision. The statement is notable for what it does not say. Woods does not endorse the returns, but he does not oppose them either. Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau have not commented. Their silence is deafening. They are waiting. They are watching. They are hoping for a resolution. The golf world is waiting with them. So what happens next for Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau? The LIV Golf crisis is unfolding in real time. The Saudi investors are meeting. The league's future hangs in the balance, and two of the biggest names in the sport are caught in the middle. Let us examine the most likely scenarios. Scenario 1. LIV Golf survives in a reduced form. The Saudi investors decide to continue funding the league, but at a lower level. Fewer events, smaller purses, fewer players. Rahm and DeChambeau stay. They honor their contracts. They continue to play on the LIV circuit. This is the safest outcome, for them personally. They avoid the legal battles and public scrutiny of a return to the PGA Tour. But it is also the least satisfying. The league will be a shadow of its former self. The competition will be weaker. The attention will be minimal. Scenario 2. LIV Golf collapses. The Saudi investors pull the plug. The league ceases operations. Rahm and DeChambeau are free agents. They immediately apply for reinstatement to the PGA Tour. The tour grants their applications but imposes conditions. Suspensions, fines, public apologies. The players accept. They return to the tour within a year. This is the most dramatic outcome. It would be the biggest story in golf history. The prodigal sons would return. The golf world would be reunited. Scenario 3. LIV Golf collapses. Rahm and DeChambeau do not return to the PGA Tour. Instead, they join a new venture. Perhaps they team up with Bryson DeChambeau's proposed new league. Perhaps they start their own. Perhaps they retire. This is the least likely outcome. Starting a new league is incredibly difficult. Retiring would be a waste of talent. But both players are wealthy. Both have options. Neither is desperate. Which scenario is most likely? According to sources close to both players, Scenario 2 is the current frontrunner. They want to come back, a source told Golfix. They miss the competition. They miss the fans. They miss the majors. The money was great, but money is not everything. That may be true, but the path back is not easy. The PGA Tour has rules. The players who stayed have feelings. The media will be relentless. Rahm and DeChambeau will have to endure a lot to return. The next few weeks will be crucial. The LIV Golf Board meeting is scheduled for later this month. The decision will be made. The future will be determined. Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau are waiting. The golf world is watching. What happens next will shock you. The only certainty is uncertainty. The golf world is on edge. Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau's futures are in jeopardy. LIV Golf is on the brink. What happens next will determine the direction of professional golf for years to come. Let us look ahead to the next few months. First, the LIV Golf Board meeting. The Saudi investors will decide whether to continue funding the league. If they pull the plug, the league will have to declare bankruptcy. Players will be released from their contracts. The assets will be sold. The experiment will be over. If they continue, the league will restructure. New leadership, new strategy, new hope. The players will breathe a sigh of relief. Second, the PGA Tour's response. The tour has been preparing for this moment. Officials have been meeting with lawyers. They have been discussing scenarios. They know that the return of LIV players is inevitable. They want to be ready. They want to control the narrative. They will announce a formal reinstatement process. It will be strict. It will be public. It will be controversial. Third, the legal battles. If LIV collapses, there will be lawsuits. Players will sue for unpaid guaranteed money. The Saudis will countersue for breach of contract. The courts will be busy. The proceedings will be messy. The golf world will be distracted. It could take years to resolve. Fourth, the return. Eventually, Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau will return to the PGA Tour. They will serve their suspensions. They will pay their fines. They will apologize. They will play. The fans will cheer. The media will celebrate. The golf world will move on. But the scars will remain. The LIV era will be remembered as a time of division. Families were split. Friendships were ended. Reputations were damaged. The wounds will heal, but they will not disappear. The players who stayed will never fully trust the players who left. The players who left will always feel judged. Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau are wealthy beyond imagination. They do not need to play golf. They could retire tomorrow and live comfortably for the rest of their lives. But they love the game. They love the competition. They love the crowd. They want to come back. They want to be part of the sport again. The question is whether the sport will have them. The PGA Tour has rules. The fans have memories. The media has opinions. Nothing is guaranteed. But one thing is certain. The golf world will be watching. The next chapter of this story is about to be written, and it will shock you. For more coverage in golf, subscribe and hit the notification bell.